So I decided to make videos all the way through my progress of the LSA swap on this here LS6. I'm going to try to cover everything with as much part numbers and everything as possible and answer questions through this whole thing. Thing I've been working on is putting the Walbro 450 in the stock bucket here. Here's the top. I bought a second one to basically modify so I can still drive my car, and then when I drop the tank it'll be a little bit quicker. So here, if you modify this clip here, the stock portion of it comes up over the stock pump, but this is too big, so you have to trim it down. If you look at this piece here, just as thin as that is all the way around, it fits on there perfect. And the back one, it's a little loose, but it fits in there just like the stock one does. And then for the return, I spent hours on the forums listening to people going back and forth about this, the return pressure regulator. That's the little hole where it squirts fuel back into the bucket, which is absolutely tiny. Some people left it in and they were getting rail pressure at about 75 psi, and some drilled it out and they had no issues. I said screw it. Get a 3/8 brass barb, it's the same on the other side, heat it up and then just push it in. I went about halfway and I had to heat the plastic and the barb to get it to go in all the way. And then to remove these hoses off of the stock pump and regulator, just use, most people said use a lighter. Lighter didn't work for me, like a regular one. Butane one heated up a lot faster and they popped right off. I already did this. I don't really have much to show, but here's the stock pump pigtail, and that was a static discharge for the regulator. And then the pins, I just de-pinned it, and I had pins at work, brand new ones, so I just wired the Walbro connector to new factory pins because I don't like butt connectors in the fuel tank. Other than that, I'm going to use some of these clips here. I think they're called oiteker clips or something like that, or clamps. That way they have constant pressure all the way around, just because I don't trust heating these. They look kind of melted, so I'm going to heat them again to get them over the barb of the new pump and my brass barb here, but I'm going to clamp them just in case. So I will get to that. So I decided to use a heat gun this time instead of a lighter, and it seemed to work pretty good. Just be careful, this stuff heats up fast. I almost melted it through right there, so I had to let it cool down and start over. But you can see through there, the white part right there. Got it over both barbs, should be okay. But that's why I'm using these clamps, just for assurance. Alright, so when I just went to assemble the top part back on the bucket, you can see the end of the fuel sock here. It was about over here and the top didn't want to close, so I just slid it back with a screwdriver and snapped everything down, and that seemed to work fine. And I don't think it's binding it too much down there. Looks like it will be okay. Now I'm going to get the return barb hooked up. Alright, so here's the completed modified stock fuel pump module with the Walbro 450. I think that connector will be okay there. And then here's how the return looks. I got to put the fuel sender, or the level sender back on, but I think I might use the one that's in my car now just because it's newer. I also put a new tank seal up here if you need the part number for that. There you go. And then since I removed that regulator, I'm going to be using this Airmotive one, the gauge. Definitely check Amazon for these, because this one was like 50 bucks off. And then for the wiring, I'm running the Racetronics plug and play harness, and this one is specific for the CTS V. It's actually pretty affordable. I think it's only like 150 bucks or something. If you need some of these clamps, just searched oiteker clamps on Amazon. The tool and the kit was 25 bucks, I think. And yeah, so now I'm waiting on my AN fittings to get the regulator and stuff set up, and so that'll do it for this video until I move on to the next part. Just realized one thing that I forgot to add. The Racetronics harness runs the square 4 pins, but if you want to do what I did here with a second module, make sure they're the same, because I'm pretty sure all of the newer and aftermarket ones are a rectangular flat 4 pin. So just make sure that you have the square 4 if you're going to go with the Racetronics harness.